Footage captured the break-in. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Fall enrollment is still open at California Baptist University. Earn your bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree with flexible on-campus and online programs. Scholarships are still available to help you get started. Apply now at calbaptist.edu.
Is this the time?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Bronny James led the Lakers rookies and free agents with 17 points Monday night in the team's loss to the Clippers in the NBA Summer League in Vegas. LeBron's son played 24 minutes. He made 6 of 10 shots and had 5 assists. The LA Sparks are at home tonight against the Washington Mystics. The Sparks are trying to win consecutive games for the first time this season. They beat the Connecticut Sun on Sunday. At 7-14, the Sparks are tied with the Chicago Sky for the third worst record in the WNBA. Congratulations to Ty Floyd, a 28-year-old native of Winter Garden, Florida. Floyd is the first female play-by-play announcer to work for an HBCU athletic program. Floyd was hired Monday by Alabama A&M to be the school's play-by-play voice for football and basketball games on TV and radio. Floyd is a journalism graduate from HBCU Florida A&M. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you. 1, 2, 3, go! Ha, ha. I'm gonna try to keep it coming. Things ain't always smooth, but I'll be alright as long as I can find the groove. Yes, I will. Yeah. Somehow I know that I can make it. You seem to like my style. All right. Don't you worry, I'm gonna be around a while. Yes, I will. I'm just happy to see you talk to me back in style again.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, Claire Babineau-Fontenot, CEO of Feeding America and one of Time Magazine's 2025 Women of the Year, breaks down the real-life Hunger Games that too many Americans are forced to play as we face the largest cut to SNAP benefits in history. My sense is that many fellow citizens are soon to turn to food banks, but from everything I read, America's food banks are simply not prepared for the onslaught. Get ready for a sobering conversation today in hour 2. In our third hour,
special way. Come here, woman.
We've been together so very long. I hate to break up with my happy heart.
The way we love.
Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter, pianist, and actress Shalea returns to the show in our final hour today to preview her tribute to her mentor Quincy Jones at Disney Hall this weekend as part of the Inner City Youth Orchestra's season finale concert. It's a really good excuse to play the music of Quincy Jones all 3 hours today, Miles. Hint, hint. Okay. It's the best of Q all 3 hours today as we prepare for Shalea to come in studio in our third hour once again to talk about her tribute to Quincy Jones at Disney Hall this weekend. But in this first hour, let's talk politics with Maurice Mo Mitchell, National Director of the Working Families Party. Honored to have him on this program. Before I commence my conversation with Mo, I want to remind you of what longtime Democratic Party strategist James Carville said earlier this year when he invited progressives to leave the Democratic Party. Take a listen.
And so how does the progressive urban identity left live in the same universe as the pragmatic governing left of center people? Most of them happen to be elected officials. And maybe the answer is we can't. All right, I'm suggesting that maybe after I saw what happened on April 7th with American Voices, after, in my opinion, which was just devastating and to somewhat humiliating defeat, and particularly unnecessary defeat that we had. And in my view, I'm certainly open to have, people can call me back. I'd be glad to interview you. That your wildly naive and impractical worldview is not consistent with electoral majorities. So maybe we need to have a schism. Maybe you got plenty different, the Justice Party, the Working Families Party, the Socialist Party. The only thing I'd ask is just don't use the word Democratic in any title that you have, because most Democrats that I know that are running for office don't want your name, don't want you to be part of the deal.
James Carville inviting progressives, that is, to leave the Democratic Party. And where would they go? Our guest in this hour is Maurice Mo Mitchell, National Director of the Working Families Party. You're listening, and I'm glad about it, to Tavis Smiley.
Let me take off your shoes. Take a stand and let me know how. Oh, yes, baby. And all you know
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley show conversation with James Farr. At one point, James said something that caught me off guard. Not because it wasn't true, but because it is. Black Altadena is gone. I know it may seem stupid and non-productive, but I stopped in that moment listening to Tavis and James. I broke down and cried. In the back of my mind, I told myself we can bring it back like it was. But James Farr's reality check hit me like a ton of bricks. My community is being murdered. I said murder, not by the Altadena Eaton Canyon fire, but by the people we elect to protect us, and by greedy and gatekeeping nonprofits who cannot see the forest for the trees. For the first time since the fire, I truly feel and understand my wife's inconsolable pain. Because I'm struggling to find a path to recovery and at least some form of normalcy. My community is crumbling right in front of my face. Lack of funding to rebuild is slowly destroying us. Many of us can no longer hold out, and developers are gobbling up our property. When I hear voices like Tavis Smiley and James Farr speak truth to power on KBLA Talk 1580, it reminds me that we're not crazy, just unheard. Make no mistake here, KBLA delegation, this is war, and we the people of Black Altadena are losing. It's like waiting for reparation. Not gonna happen, brother. In this new orange man world, no one, no entity is persuaded by right or wrong. There is no consequence for doing the wrong thing, and no accolades or support for doing the right thing. Will war-torn Black Altadena survive? Your guess is as good as mine. But what have I got to lose? I'm in my 70s and don't have time to wait. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once suggested that riots break out when people have no hope. But there's nothing left to burn down in Altadena. I wish I could say I remain hopeful that my beloved community will rise again like a phoenix from the ashes. I wish I could. With a KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Pasadena Community Coalition at gmail.com. Reach out to me. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yeah.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Best of Quincy Jones, all 3 hours today of our program as we prepare for Shalea, one of his proteges, to come live in studio in hour 3 to talk about her tribute to Q this weekend at Disney Hall here in Los Angeles. But let's get this party started for real with Maurice Mo Mitchell, National Director of the Working Families Party. Mo, good to have you on. How are you, sir?
It's good to be with you. It's good to be with a lion of independent journalism. I'm honored to be with you, my brother.
You were kind to say that, and I'm honored to be with you, one who is independent in his own thinking and whose work and witness I deeply respect and admire. Let me just start right in. I played that James Carville clip. I'm sure you heard that clip when it came out a little while ago, and I've been waiting on this conversation since he mentioned the Working Families Party in the clip. I've been waiting to get to you. So when you first heard that, Mo, tell me what you thought.
Well, I'm happy when people have our names in their mouths because it gives me opportunities like this one to have a conversation about all the work that we're doing and our strategy. So I appreciate anybody that is so kind to reference us when we're talking about political power because it gets these conversations started. And look, he talked about I mean, he said a lot. There was a lot there, bro.
Let's unpack it. We got an hour, Mo. Let's unpack it. Go for it, man. The mic is yours.
Okay, so he used the words, and all these words are loaded: progressive, urban, identity, left, right? I'm like, who is he talking about? When often when you use the word urban, it's code for somebody or something or some communities and not others. When people use identity, they often exclude white identity. They're usually referring to a certain set of identities, right? So there's a lot there to unpack. You could do a whole sociology class on who we might be referring to. But putting that aside, he posited that there were a set of progressive urban identity actors, and then on the other side, there's people who are concerned with pragmatism and governing. Now, let's look at the recent results in New York City. Zohran Mamdani's race. And I'm assuming when he's talking about the progressive urban identity left, he probably is talking, he named us, right? And we were very proud to have as part of our strategy the full slate of progressive candidates, including Zohran, who ultimately won the Democratic primary. One of the reasons why he was successful was because he was pragmatic. He had a message that was pragmatic in the lives of working people across race, across ethnicity. And he spoke about affordability because we know that issue 1, 2, and 3 for most Americans across race, across ethnicity is affordability because the cost of healthcare is crushing people. Medical debt is crushing people. The cost of housing is crushing people. So when you talk about pragmatism, the progressive voices are the most pragmatic and are offering concrete examples of policies that would be the most pragmatic in the lives of working people. I'm sure he would include Bernie Sanders and AOC. Medicare for all is a policy that is pragmatic in the lives of working people. And so there's a reason why so many working people are moving towards the Working Families Party and are moving towards candidates that are simply focusing on the issues that they care the most about. And so, the Working Families Party, we started 26 years ago. And I think it's important to understand the context in which we started. And you'll remember this. At the time, 26 years ago, there were a set of Democratic Party consultants and strategists that employed this idea triangulation. Right.
Yeah.
So this was the Clinton era.
That's right.
And they had this theory. They were like, look, historically, I remember I was born in 1979. I remember that most people understood that the Democratic Party was the party of the labor unions and working people, and the Republican Party were the party of the country club. That's basically how people understood it. And the Democratic Party was suffering losses. And so their theory was like, well, let's move to the right. Let's crib all of these ideas from the Republican Party, all of these quote unquote socially conservative ideas, and let's make them ours. And then we'll take some of the social rights stuff, which basically means we'll pat on the heads the different minority groups and give them social rights concessions. But when it comes to economic rights, we'll give those to Wall Street. That was basically what triangulation was. And what it meant was the 94 crime bill. It meant quote unquote welfare reform. It meant the Democrats and the Clinton administration going along with NAFTA. And at the time, there were people in labor unions and grassroots organizations that said, this is both a political mistake. We're going to lose working class people of all races because you're siding with Wall Street. You're siding with this free trade regime that advantages corporations. You're siding with this whole neoliberal philosophy that is all about markets over people. And that's going to cost you politically. That's going to cost us morally and ethically because How can we be a party that includes the labor unions, but also includes the bosses that they're striking against? This is wrong. And at that time, some grassroots organizations, labor institutions, created the Working Families Party in response to those ideas. And now you talk about pragmatism. 26 years later, the Democrats have lost working people because their policies were pragmatic for the ruling class and the 1%, but they weren't pragmatic for working people. And so every single day, I and other people across the country that are building the Working Families Party are building a bottom up third party movement specifically to address things that are pragmatic in the lives of working people and to create a politics that recruits everyday people, educators, union organizers, homemakers to run, especially on the local level, city council, state legislatures, and then all the way up to Congress to govern in the interest of working people and not organized capital, not the Heritage Foundation, not corporations, not billionaires. And that's why we exist.
Since you mentioned Zoran Mondami, let me ask you a quick follow-up on that. Based on what you've just said now, I would assume, and knowing James Carville as I do, and given what James Carville said, which we played moments ago, Zoran Mondami must be his worst nightmare.
You know, I'll put it this way. Directly after November's election, there were a lot of breathless op-eds written in the New York Times and Washington Post editorial section that argued the point that he was arguing, that somehow relatively small groups, I guess, on the progressive faction of the Democratic Party is the reason why VP Harris lost her election, the reason why Democrats lost Congress, right? That's basically their thesis. And I find that fascinating because all the people who held all the strings, the people who raised and spent more than $1 billion on that race, the people who consulted on that race, the people who were the media consultants and the TV consultants and the preferred outside independent vehicle that raised and spent hundreds of millions of dollars. Those were all the centrist, I'm using air quotes, centrist pragmatic people. So I don't understand how you have the purse strings. You are running the campaign and you're advising VP Harris to run this very centrist sort of textbook consensus-based Democratic campaign that isn't quote unquote identitarian, that certainly isn't left, that isn't doing any of those things. And then at the end of the day, when you lose, who has to hold the bag? The boogeyman of these, okay, great. And you write your op-eds. You know, we're not interested in the hot takes. We're interested in organizing and the work. And what I said at that time was like, we're not going to engage in the hot takes. I'm not going to write a op-ed to duel with their op-eds. I'm going to organize. And in New York, for example, we had an organizing strategy for over a year of consolidating all of these candidates against Cuomo and Adams and their politics, because there were a number of candidates that agreed on most things and had differences. And based on the outcome of the 2021 election in New York, see, this is why strategy and organizing always gets the goods, right? You could say whatever you want to say in the press. If there's a hot mic, you could say whatever you want to say. You could write whatever you want to write in the op-eds of these liberal, sort of coastal elite newspapers. You could do those things. But at the end of the day, we had a strategy of bringing together these candidates, Brad Lander, Zohar Mamdani, Adrian Adams, Zellner Myrie, to create a coalition. These candidates were all running for mayor, and it took a lot of work to get them to not run in a hyper-competitive way against one another. They recognized, like, oh, okay, if we build this solidarity movement that is multiracial, that is diverse, against the politics that we all agree will take us in the wrong direction, we could shift New York in a different direction. And if we talk plainly about those issues that people are saying again and again and again, then we will earn the trust of everyday New Yorkers. And it turned out we were right. So for their op-eds, we produce results. And that's how I would answer him or any other of, I welcome critiques.
Yeah.
And, but I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. I'm gonna stay committed to the strategy. And ultimately, the strategy that is the victorious strategy is the strategy that should lead the pro-democracy movement. We're part of a big pro-democracy movement.
Yeah.
The thing that I agree with them with is that this is not a time to be sectarian.
Yeah.
Right? This to me, but you notice these are the same people that say vote blue no matter who, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? These are the same people who say, look, we duked it out in the primary, but at the end of the day, this candidate won. And in order to defeat MAGA and the right wing, we should all rally around. That is their line.
Yeah.
It is fascinating now.
No, it is their line, but it's not holding in New York. When we come forward in a few moments, I'm going to play a clip from you. James Clyburn was on this program the other day. Speaking of establishment Democrats, James Clyburn fits squarely in that category. And I like James Clyburn personally, but I'm going to play a clip from him on this program the other day that will take us a little deeper into that conversation. Before I do that, though, I've got 2 minutes left in this moment right now. We'll continue, of course, when we come forward. But very quickly, since you said you welcome critiques, let me offer you one, or put one in front of you in these 2 minutes. How would you respond? You mentioned strategy and organizing. How would you respond to people who say that this is the problem with the way our system is structured right now with this two-party system, that third parties really don't have a shot? You guys have been around for 26 years, the Working Families Party. How do you respond to people who say that for 26 years, y'all ain't got a lot to show for it?
Well, the one thing that we do have is receipts, because we've been putting our heads down. I think what people might notice is that we're about the work and we're not about spectacle. And so, there is a third party approach. I call it the Ross Perot approach, where, every 4 years, you, through spectacle, try to change the conditions of the two-party system by running a failed third party approach, top down, for president.
Right.
What we've done is a bottom-up third party approach, which is why we have so many receipts. So for people who want to see the evidence, I point to the state of New York and the city of New York. There is a progressive caucus in the city of New York brought to you by the Working Families Party. There is a progressive state legislature brought to you by the Working Families Party. Cuomo, he was the Democratic governor of the state of New York, and he sided with turncoat Democrats in the state legislature that joined forces with the Republicans, preventing progressives from being able to pass legislation. It was only through the Working Families Party strategy of targeting those turncoat, sometimes they call them moderates. They're not moderate at all. They're radicals. They're extremists. We defeated all of them, opening the floodgates of progressive legislation that has transformed the lives of everyday New Yorkers.
Hold that thought. When we come forward, I want to ask whether or not the victories that you are referencing are more legislative or more in the elected realm. Because I asked you that question, you went straight to legislative victories, and those are important. Don't get me wrong. They may be most important, frankly. But in terms of electeds, we see D's and we see R's and we see I's every now and then. But where are the working family people who have been elected to office? That's the heart of my question. For a party that's been around for 26 years, how do you respond to people who say, where are the victories here? And again, if the answer is those victories are legislative, I accept that. Let's probe that a great deal more to cover with Maurice Mo Mitchell, National Director of the Working Families Party, when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Andrew Cuomo is back in the race, this time as an independent. After losing the Democratic primary, the former governor says he's in it to win it.
The general election is in November, and I am in it to win it. My opponent, Mr. Mamdani, offers slick slogans, but no real solutions.
He's urging other independents, including Mayor Eric Adams, to step aside by September. In Mississippi, Reginald Butler, a black man, is facing felony charges after shooting a white man who attacked him twice. Despite video evidence and witness accounts supporting self-defense, Butler was arrested. Critics say the case exposes racial bias in stand your ground laws. And UNC basketball legend Bill Chamberlain has died at 75. He led the Tar Heels to the 1971 NIT title and a Final Four, later playing in the ABA and NBA. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Fall enrollment is still open at California Baptist University. Earn your bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree with flexible on-campus and online programs. Scholarships are still available to help you get started. Apply now at calbaptist.edu.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Bronny James led the Lakers rookies and free agents with 17 points Monday night in the team's loss to the Clippers in the NBA Summer League in Vegas. LeBron's son played 24 minutes. He made 6 of 10 shots and had 5 assists. The LA Sparks are at home tonight against the Washington Mystics. The Sparks are trying to win consecutive games for the first time this season. They beat the Connecticut Sun on Sunday. At 7-14, the Sparks are tied with the Chicago Sky for the third worst record in the WNBA. Congratulations to Ty Floyd, a 28-year-old native of Winter Garden, Florida. Floyd is the first female play-by-play announcer to work for an HBCU athletic program. Floyd was hired Monday by Alabama A&M to be the school's play-by-play voice for football and basketball games on TV and radio. Floyd is a journalism graduate from HBCU Florida A&M. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Give me those sauces. Grab the chicken strips. Let's dunk them in there. There's nothing like it. Hey, I'm Joey. And I'm Josh. And we're team members at our local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing you'll love about the Chick-fil-A chicken strips is dipping them in our sauces. My sauce is the barbecue sauce. If you wanted to add sweet, tangy flavors, there's nothing like it.
I love the garden herb ranch sauce, but if you want a little bit more kick in the spicy side, you can mix it with buffalo sauce.
Dipping them in our sauces, it is perfection.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Team members paid for their testimonials.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars, and let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me.
You cannot fade Quincy Delight Jones. Nobody did as much as Quincy did with every music genre. And there's a major tribute to Q this weekend here in LA at Disney Hall. And Shalea, one of his proteges, will join us in our third hour today to talk about that tribute to Quincy Delight Jones. We'll do that in our third hour. In this hour, our guest is Maurice Mo Mitchell, who's the National Director for the Working Families Party. We've been talking about, we started this hour, in case you've just tuned in, playing a clip from James Carville, longtime Democratic strategist, who suggested that maybe progressives should just leave the Democratic Party. Maybe we just can't coexist. And he suggested maybe y'all should, go somewhere like the Working Families Party. So I thought I'd call Mo and invite him on and see what he thought about that. He gave a great response. In case you missed it, check out the podcast posted later tonight. But we've been talking about third parties and strategizing and organizing, what Democrats can learn from this moment, particularly the victory of Zohran Mamdani in New York City. So James Clyburn, too many Jameses. James Carville, I played earlier. James Clyburn was on this program a couple of days ago, a longtime Democratic member of Congress, of course, from South Carolina, the guy that helped Joe Biden get elected. Was on this program, and I asked him a couple of days ago how Democrats should show up in this moment, how establishment Democrats ought to respond to the victory of Zohran Mamdani in that Democratic primary. You saw the news yesterday that Andrew Cuomo is staying in this race. He's a longtime Democrat. His family, Democrat icons, lions, his father, Mario Cuomo, former governor of New York. They've been Democrats their whole lives. He lost to Zohran Mamdani, announced yesterday basically he's staying in the race. News broke yesterday. He's staying in the race, running as an independent. That's the way that establishment Democrats are responding to losing a major race in New York City. Eric Adams bowed out of the Democratic primary, running as an independent. So it's a moment of introspection, I think, for Democrats across the board. I digress on that for now, but let me very quickly play what James Clyburn had to say when I asked him how Democrats in this moment with regard to this race ought to be responding.
As I said on some TV show a couple of nights ago, I lost 3 times before I got elected to the office. And when I lost in the Democratic primary, I endorsed and supported the person that beat me. Mm-hmm. So I endorsed Cuomo. I'm now supporting the guy that beat him. So that's what it calls being a good Democrat is all about. Mm-hmm. You go in it, you give it your best shot. If the majority of the people feel the other guy was better, join the majority and help the other guy. And then the other guy will help you later on. I'll never forget the guy that I defeated when I ran for Congress. When he passed away, he told his children, I want Jim Clyburn to be the only speaker outside of my family at my service. So that is what we grew up doing, respecting the winner and going with the majority opinion.
That's what he grew up doing. That ain't what Democrats are doing right about now. Mo, my time is getting tight. Let me ask you right quick. I want to cover a lot more ground here. Very quickly, let me ask you, what do you make of the news yesterday that Andrew Cuomo is staying in this race? They're doing everything they can to make sure that Zohran Mamdani does not win this race in New York City.
Well, you ever see the horror movie where at the end of the movie they've vanquished the swamp monster or, Jason or whoever else, and they think all is good, and then he reappears. It kind of reminds me of that scene.
Yeah.
And look, it's typical. I'm unsurprised. Cuomo, he is driven, unlike his father, he is driven solely by the pursuit of power. And, if there's even a 0.5% chance that he could figure out how to get a claw into power so that he could see some sort of sight line to the White House, which has always been his prime directive, he's going to shoot for it. God bless him. We are a strong coalition that's growing every single day.
Yeah.
More and more labor unions, and more of those quote unquote establishment Democrats are reading the tea leaves and joining the coalition.
Yeah.
And we plan on between now and November to run, to be part of a campaign that expands and grows. Like I was very proud of what Zoran said in the victory speech that he said, look, I plan to be the mayor of the people who voted for me as well as the people who didn't vote for me. And so there's a lot of folks that we're going to be in conversation with, and I anticipate there to be a resounding victory in November. But, we're going to earn that through organizing between now and November.
So let me ask you back to the question I posed before the break.
Yes.
With regard to Working Families Party victories, again, I believe that, the Democratic Party and Republican Party have this thing on lockdown. And it is very difficult in this country to get a third party off the ground. I've said to many of my friends who have run as third party candidates, you can't do this at election day. You can't wait until every 4 years and then pop up and think you can run as an independent and be successful. You have to build from the ground up. I give the Working Families Party credit. You've done that for almost 30 years now. You guys have been building from the ground up. But where are the victories? And again, if the answer is the victories have been more legislative than with regard to elected officials, then tell me that.
Okay. So I want to share 3 names with you.
Okay.
Fish James, Kendra Brooks, Nicholas O'Rourke. In 2003, Tish James, she took that law degree from Howard University, and she didn't go to a corporate, a law firm. She was fighting for everyday people using that law degree as a public defender, and she ran in Brooklyn for city council as not a Democrat, not as a Republican, as a WFP independent. And she won. She defeated the Republican. She defeated the Democrat. Her entrance into politics was through the Working Families Party. And over the years, she has earned the commitment of people, Democrats, independents, you name it. And she's now at the highest levels of government as the Attorney General of New York. And she's leveraging that power in order to hold accountable corporations and powerful politicians like Donald Trump and others. And so, and then Kendra Brooks and Nicholas O'Rourke, currently in the city of Pennsylvania. The city of Pennsylvania is a 2-party city. Those 2 parties are the Democrats and the Working Families Party. In the city councils of Pennsylvania, there are 2 at-large city council people, the minority leader of the Philadelphia City Council, Kendra Brooks, and the minority whip of the Philadelphia City Council, Nicholas O'Rourke. Both of them are WFP independents. That in itself is historic and important, but what's more important, and why I believe that the electoral politics connect to the legislative victories, is the policies that WFP coalition, with some of their colleagues who are Democrats, are able to pass. So very recently, they passed a policy that prevented the artificial algorithmic increasing of rent that's taking place all across this country. So there are AI computer algorithms that are artificially increasing the rents in all of our cities. And that bill outlaws it in the city of Philadelphia, right? Then there was another groundbreaking bill during COVID, where Kendra Brooks passed COVID legislation. We all remember we were sheltered in place, and for all of us that were sheltered in place, and as a result, many people couldn't earn a wage, but they had to pay rent, and it was like a catch-22. There were many working people in cities all across this country that were facing eviction. In the city of Philadelphia, there was groundbreaking Working Families Party legislation that prevented those evictions and had the tenants engage in a dialogue with their landlords, keeping them in their homes, right, and negotiating with those landlords in order to stay in those homes. That was a COVID era piece of legislation that now is permanent legislation. And so we talked about the affordability crisis. When you look at the evictions, there's an amazing chart that shows evictions increasing in all of these major cities. And then in the city of Philadelphia, we see evictions going down. That's because of the Working Families Party legislation brought to you by independent Working Families Party at-large city council people in the city of Philadelphia.
I receive it. I received those legislative victories in New York and in Philadelphia and beyond. Just wanted to ask the question because I know there are people listening asking, okay, where's the evidence that third parties can, in fact, be successful in this country? There is some of it right there. When we come forward, more of our conversation with Maurice Mo Mitchell on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Yeah. At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
See website for details. Bills Happen is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Hey, bills happen. So when you need extra cash fast, go to billshappen.com. Have you been turned down? Are your credit cards maxed out? Do you have bad credit? Go to billshappen.com. All you need is a job and a checking account. You can find a lender and get up to $5,000 cash as early as tomorrow at billshappen.com. Billshappen.com is the smart way to get a personal lender now. So if you need extra money for car repairs, medical bills, family emergencies, whatever you need cash for, go to billshappen.com and you can get the money you need as soon as the next day, up to $5,000. At billshappen.com, our process is safe, secure, and all online. No one to deal with in person, and Bills Happen does not charge you any fees to use our service. It's easy. When you need a lender, just remember, when bills happen, go to billshappen.com. billshappen.com for the cash you need now. billshappen.com.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Maurice Mo Mitchell, who's a national director of the Working Families Party. The time is getting really tight now. I wanted to ask you this because I've seen you opine on it publicly, and I think a lot of people don't quite understand it. Talk to me very quickly, Mo, about fusion voting and why you think it is the way forward for progressives who want to win.
Absolutely. So in the states of New York and Connecticut, and also to a different degree in the state of Oregon, and also for many years in the state of South Carolina up until very recently, there was a law in the books called fusion voting. Fusion voting used to be pretty standard in the history of the United States, and third parties actually were pretty standard until the Democrats and the Republicans kind of, as a duopoly, really kind of crowded out the ability for third parties to show up and express themselves. But in New York and Connecticut specifically, where the Working Families Party has ballot access, we use fusion voting. Why? Well, there's this thing called the spoiler dilemma. And it's not a myth, it's basic arithmetic, right? basically, the idea is, and a lot of people talked about this problem. When the Green Party is often it comes up with the Green Party when they launch a presidential campaign, right? There's a first past the post electoral system in this country, which means winner takes all. So if you are let's say you're a union-backed progressive party and you're running against the Democrat and the Republican, it is likely that you might take some of the Democrats' voters, not all of them. You might have your own voters, but you might take some of the Democrats' voters, and it might, in some situations, make it more likely for the Republican to win and not the Democrat, right? And it is a very undemocratic feature of our very undemocratic system. Fusion voting is a way for the Working Families Party to get past that really troubling feature of our electoral system. So it allows for a party to cross-endorse the candidate of another party. And I'll show you in a very recent example what that looked like. In the 2020 election, we endorsed Elizabeth Warren. When she dropped out, we endorsed Bernie Sanders. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because our third choice was President Biden. Right. And for us, it was a clear choice. Our first choice was Elizabeth Warren, followed by Bernie. Our third choice was President Biden. We made that choice because in the binary between Biden and Trump, we were clear that Biden was the better option. Sure. We could organize with Biden in a more productive way. But what often happens is you kind of get lost in the Democratic Party sauce. With fusion voting, we as an independent party were able to endorse the Democrat. So voters in New York State in the general election, they were able to have a choice. They could either vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on the Democratic Party line, or they could vote for them on the Working Families Party line. And then when all the votes are tabulated, you have a record of all of your voters that voted for the candidate on your line. And you might say, like, well, why is that important?
Hold that thought. We'll close on that note. Why is that important? You're listening to Mo Mitchell on Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward?
Because he's not going back.
And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada. Member FDIC.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in.
But we're okay with that.
You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
A lot of talk about ranked choice voting in New York City, given what's happening there. Again, we've all been reading more about ranked choice voting. We've been talking about fusion voting. And Maurice Mitchell believes that's the future for progressives. And I got 3 minutes, a very tight 3 minutes, for you to tell us why fusion voting is so important.
Okay, so thank you for the opportunity. So the reason why it's important is that in New York and Connecticut, where the Working Families Party leverages fusion voting, hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers and voters in Connecticut were able to vote their values. They were able to say what they believed, which was like, yes, in the binary between Kamala Harris and Trump, I, with my full chest, choose Harris. Mm-hmm. And I have serious policy disagreements with her as it relates to the war in Gaza, as it relates to the Democratic Party's connection to labor unions, as it relates to a racial justice agenda that is also an economic justice agenda. And I want to voice those differences in a productive way where I say, yes, let's defeat the right wing, but let's make sure that this candidate understands what agenda the voters are voting for. Another way to think about it is that the top of the ticket, the president, represents a coalition that includes a lot of people. It includes centrists, it includes but it also includes AOC, it also includes Tish James. And so you're voting for that side of the coalition so that when it comes time to govern, we could leverage those votes in order to move them in the direction we want to move them.
Let me ask you a quick question about organizing and governing. My sense is, following your work, that you believe, as I do, that local organizing, certainly these days, is just as important as national organizing. In 60 seconds, say a word about that.
Absolutely. So organizing gets the goods, and there's no place called national. There's only cities, towns, hamlets, right? There's only local communities, right? Yeah. And so it has to ultimately happen on the local level. And when people are concerned about the things that are most pressing to them, like the cost of housing, their children's education, things like land use, whether or not you could build housing in a certain place, and whether or not there's affordable housing, all of those, policing. Yeah. All of those are local issues. That's right. And can be transformed on the local level. And the good news is it takes less money. Yeah. You could, just through organizing and grit, sometimes transform the conditions of a city council and get somebody in a city council or get somebody in a school board or get somebody in a water board. And actually, we are recruiting thousands of local people. If anybody is listening to this and they say, hey, I want to run, I'd say, like, slow down. If you want to run for mayor or Congress, start on the local level and we'll support you. Because that's the way that you could truly govern with the people. Somebody once said that all politics is local, and I believe, again, as Mo does, that local organizing is just as important, if not more, these days than national organizing. I love his phrase, there's no place called national. There's a place called L.A. or Milwaukee or Pocatello, Idaho, wherever, but there's no place called national. Maybe an airport in D.C., but there's no place called national. I digress. Maurice Mo Mitchell is the National Director for the Working Families Party. Delighted to have had him on this program. Mo, we'll do it again, my friend. All the best to you, sir. Absolutely. It was an honor.
The honor was all mine. Thank you for your time. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Andrew Cuomo is back in the race, this time as an independent. After losing the Democratic primary, the former governor says he's in it to win it.
The general election is in November, and I am in it to win it. My opponent, Mr. Mamdani, offers slick slogans, but no real solutions.
He's urging other independents, including Mayor Eric Adams, to step aside by September. In Mississippi, Reginald Butler, a black man, is facing felony charges after shooting a white man who attacked him twice.